So, welcome. You get to see Jared talk all the time, and it's really nice because we're best friends. We go back to our college days. Whenever I was a senior in high school, we went on the world's worst double date. Ended up, my girlfriend stopped talking to me and would not talk to me at all. So I ended up talking to Jared, and we hung out the night. We actually went on a date that night. And it was a lot of fun. One of my favorite dates I've ever had, as a matter of fact. Turned out to be a great relationship, honestly. It turned out really, really great. But what's funny about Jared, you got to see yesterday a true microcosm of our relationship, a true inside view of what our relationship is like. So many of you know, 2 years ago at Launch Out Tulsa, I started my speech with a handful of hand tricks. Do you guys remember this? So many of you remember this, and then yesterday, I guess we had to fill some time because there were some technical difficulties or whatever, and Jared comes up on stage, and he gets up here, and he's just showing his hand tricks off, and he's saying, "Oh my goodness, I'm so good, look at me, I'm killing these hand tricks right here," like he had created them. Not once, I don't know if you guys heard, not once did he say, I learned these from Ryan Eller. He had a chance, and you might have noticed he had a chance to completely redeem himself, and I thought he was going to. And he said, I'll be honest with you guys, I'm a novice with this. I'm a novice. I'm not that good. I actually have people around me who are much better at this. Kyle, the intern, come up on stage, and then Kyle taught you guys a Spock, reverse Spock. Kyle, who taught you that? There we go. Okay, so... So I figure in the theme of Launch Out, I didn't get to speak last year, this year, they taught you, honestly, they taught you the very beginning basic level hand tricks. So I feel like this crowd, we've got a group of launchers, we've got a group of people that are going to say, I'm going to step outside of my comfort zone, I'm going to try new things, I'm not really worried about this. I'm going to do this. I want to teach you the advanced level trick. And honestly, it starts out very simple, but it's sequential. So I want you to put one finger like this, and then I want you to put one finger like this. Very easy. All I want you to do is just switch, just like this. Just switch. It starts out easy. This is the easy one. If you're saying, oh my gosh, I don't know what to tell you, this is the easy one. You start to master it. Good job, David Dollar. David Dollar's going like this. He's rocking it out. Good job. Okay, so that's level one. If you don't have that one mastered yet, just keep going a little bit, okay? So start out here. So I'm going to teach you the second stage. Now I want you to put two fingers like this. Make sure it's two fingers. First time I did this one, this is a really easy way to flip off a crowd, all right? So the first time I did this was a group of 7th graders, and I was standing there flipping them all off. They thought it was hilarious. But two fingers like this, two fingers like this, all right? All I want you to do is just switch, just like this. Just switch. You guys got it. You're rocking it out. Good job. David Dollar's still going like this. That's good stuff. You're rocking it. All right, so that's the second level. Now here's the third level, and I think you guys can do this. There's someone out here, probably Kelsey Humphreys, who can do this. All right, so I want you to put one finger like this, one finger like this. You start here, and then you go to here. All right, and then you go to here, and then you go to here, and then you go to here. All right, so you guys want to see that one more time? All right, you start here, then you go to here, and then you go to here, and then you go to here. You all just learned the Paradigm Shift Gang sign. Thank you very much. So practice that in your own time. Bonus points will be given to the person who can come show me how much they improved on that one over at the Paradigm Shift booth. Shout out Marketplace. All right, so many of you guys know, recently, many people know because we're friends on Facebook. If I have not accepted your friend request, unfriend me and resend a friend request. I'll try to accept it. But the thing that I've been really, my life for the past 6 weeks, honestly the past 9 weeks, has been disrupted, really disrupted, because I messed up my knee. Now, many of you guys saw I had knee surgery, meniscus repair, May the 23rd, and I was on crutches up until a couple weeks ago, and I walked very, very slowly. I'm finally starting to get around and move around. I'm a very active person, and it was really hard for me to go through this surgery. And I know many of you guys have experienced surgery before. Almost everyone in the room has experienced some sort of surgery, and they're no fun. And recovery is even less fun. And I'm at the point now where I'm going to physical therapy 3 times a week and trying to build some strength back up into my knees so that I can do things like walk upstairs one step at a time and get in and out of a car and eventually hopefully be able to run again. So I'm in that process right now. What many of you do not know is the story behind how I tore my meniscus. And I will say it is truly, how I tore my meniscus was truly an act of greatness, because my speech today is good to great to excellence. And it's based on the quote by Aristotle that many of you know, that we are what we repeatedly do. Then excellence is not an act, but a habit. And I really want to break down that quote. We are what we repeatedly do. Then excellence is not an act, but a habit. And I think that there's 2 things I want to focus on. There's the acts, and I want to say the acts of greatness. And then there's the excellence, the habitual excellence. And whenever I tore my meniscus, it truly was an act of greatness, in my opinion. You guys will be able to tell me here. I was in Puerto Rico with my wife, and honestly, we work really, really hard. You see the team, and you think, oh, these guys just play, and you see pictures that we post up playing croquet outside the office or playing card games, whatever. We work really, really hard. And many of you know, as entrepreneurs, you get to pick which 80 hours of the week that you get to work. And so we stay pretty hooked up. And my wife also, she's a CPA. She's my sugar mama. She stays very busy as well. And we were worn out. We were beat down. And we had a chance to go to Puerto Rico. We honestly found our Serenity Now spot. We're in the ocean. It's blue. Had a nice, cool breeze coming in. It's so beautiful, and I'm relaxing. I remember telling Kristen, thinking, this is like the best. This is what we needed, and I'm so thankful for this time. And I know many of you guys have been in that spot before. I'm so thankful this time. And we're sitting there, and we're in the ocean, and I kind of hear a ruckus coming from the hotel, and I look at the hotel. I'm like, what's going on? I hear a guy, and he's going, over the sound of the rushing waves, I couldn't really hear what this guy was saying, but he was going nuts, just running from the hotel. And I looked at Kristen and was like, what is going on? She's like, I have no idea. And then we heard it again. It was like, and I was like, I can't hear. Can you hear what they say? And he was pointing. This guy was pointing behind us, just pointing like over our heads. So I turn around and I look behind me, and I'm trying to see what he's talking about. And then I hear it. He's saying, shark. And I'm in the water, and I see the fin of the shark. It wasn't close enough for me to touch, but it was close enough to make me really, really nervous. So I'm standing there. My first thought, I think I'm a really good husband. This is the first thought that goes through my mind. I got to get Kristen out of the water. So I turn around and look for Kristen. She's on the shore. So I'm like, okay, I got to go now. So I start going through the water, and many of you guys have done this. If you try to run in the ocean, it's not easy. It's not an easy task. So I'm wading through the sand. The waves are hitting me. It's a really tough environment. And on the beach, I see a couple, some parents, and they're freaking out, and they're screaming too. And their son, who was about 7 to 8 years old, was in the water, and he was struggling to get out of the current. And every time the wave would come, it would kind of push him back a little bit. And you guys have experienced this before. You're trying to run, but he was so small and so light that every time a wave would come. So I picked that little sucker up. This is my moment, right? I pick him up, and I throw him over my shoulder, and I start Baywatching it out of that water. Pamela Anderson has nothing on me. Why did I pick Pamela Anderson, Jared? David Hasselhoff was an option here. So I was hossing it out of that water. Had the kid like a sack of potatoes on my shoulder. He's flopping around back here. I'm going. You guys seen that scene from Forrest Gump when he's running as a kid and he starts picking up so much speed that his braces start to fly off? That happened to me, but in reverse. My body started to break down with each step. Each step that I took, I was like, oh, my knee. Another step, oh, my knee. And I push, and I push. I made it out of the water, and I threw the kid to the side. There you go. I fall down. I'm laying on the ground. But I saved the kid, but I tore the knee. None of that happened. I was standing talking to a group of friends, and someone said my name, and I turned like this and tore my meniscus. Had to have surgery. I'm going through recovery. Have to have another surgery. It's a big ordeal. But the truth is that maybe you're not saving kids from sharks in the ocean. I like that you guys believe that about me, though. That's really not anymore. The truth is, though, that if you're not saving a kid from a shark in the ocean, there are acts of greatness that you see all the time. And it may be small, like with the interns. An act of greatness. You may be taking a very hard class, and you make an A on a test. It's an act of greatness. I didn't make very many A's in school. That wasn't my thing. Tashali has not made an A yet, bless her. So it's one of those things where as you go, acts of greatness. You might have written the book. You might have started the blog or the podcast. You might have started an interview series. You might have launched out and doing your own thing. You might have done one small step. Acts of greatness, whether they be small, whether they be great, are powerful. And they're wonderful. And we should celebrate those because those moments really help us, like Jared was saying yesterday, one step at a time. An act of greatness is pushing us towards that law of motion. As we go, those greatness is pushing us there. But I'm here to tell you today, greatness is not enough. It's not enough for us. Is that if you want to be someone who is really pushing, who's really making a difference, really making an impact, you have to try to get to a state of excellence. And I focus on this quote of, we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. Greatness are individual acts. These are things that happen every once in a while. Excellence is multiple acts over and over and over and over again. If you're a student, it's making an A on almost every single test, so you make an A in the class. And not just making an A in the class, but making an A in many classes so that you make mostly A's throughout a semester. And then over your entire collegiate career, at the end of it, excellence are the students who don't just make one great grade on a test or one great grade in a class, but those students who make great grades on many tests and many class over many years. That's excellence. For an entrepreneur, for someone who's a speaker, an author, or a writer, someone that wants to get out there and make a difference, it's not writing the one blog post. It's not starting the podcast. It's doing it week in, week out, day after day, day after day. And what I think is great with this quote is the thought about excellence being habitual. The excellence is habitual. And how do we create positive habits? By doing the small things right every single day. Now, I want to try, we're an interactive team. We love doing stuff with people. I need 2 volunteers, one being David Dollar, and the other one being any of you yahoos on the front row. Dylan, come on up. Come on up. Dave Dollar, come on up. Stephanie here, if you'll hand me these, it'd be wonderful. So I have a little bit of an illustration I think is great. Do either of you guys, come on up on stage so people can see it. Do either of you guys know how to juggle? No? No, okay. So surprisingly, I also didn't know how to juggle. If you're like me, you learned how to juggle by standing, or you thought you tried to juggle by standing in the kitchen. You would grab 3 oranges or 3 apples from the kitchen. You grab all 3 of them, you throw them up in the air, and what would happen? They'd all splatter right on the ground. You pick them back up, you throw them up in the air, and what would happen? They'd fall back down. You pick them back up, you throw them in the air, what would happen? Mom would slap you in the back of the head for running all the apples. So that was my experience. I went to Cuba with Jared and our team a few years ago, and we were literally doing a conference underneath some mango trees. And there was a Cuban there who was an excellent juggler. I mean, he could do all the tricks, behind the back, under the legs, multiple mangoes all at the same time. And so I wanted to learn how to juggle, so I'm sitting there, and I'm trying to learn how to juggle. And he said, no, my friend, you're doing it all wrong. Drop 2 of those mangoes. You start with 1. So what I want you guys to do is take 1 tennis ball out of your bucket and have the 1 tennis ball. You can set the other 2 down. And all you do is you just start. Are you right-handed or left-handed? Right-handed? Right-handed. So you start always in your right hand. All I want you to do is just kind of go just like this, back and forth. Back and forth. So you get the habit of catching it over and over and over again. You get the habit of catching it. And this is kind of how it is. When I was in Cuba, they were teaching us this. And the guy said, and I'll never forget it, he said, until you master this one area, you'll never be able to juggle. He says it seems really easy, but you got to be able to catch the ball back and forth without looking at it. Just about like this, back and forth without looking at it. Just like so, over and over again. You guys are doing a really good job. You guys are really good at this. Thanks. He also said every once in a while you're going to drop a mango, and that's okay. That's okay. But I really like this idea of when we're growing, because that's where we're at, and that's where a lot of you guys are at. We're growing. We've done some really cool acts, one act at a time. Boom, I've got an act. I'm doing it. Oh, another cool moment has happened. Boom, I'm figuring it out. You got it, David Dollar. I believe in you. You got it over and over again. Sometimes we drop it, and that's okay. I like the idea of you got to master that first area, whatever your area is. And there's a whole wide variety of areas inside of this room. We often speak to the entrepreneur and the speaker and the writer because that's what we are. But you could be a coffee salesman. You could be someone who sells braziers or whatever. That's your thing. Start in that area and really focus on it and do the one thing. I think that's awesome, by the way. All right, next you do is you start with 2. You go to 2. Here you go, Dylan. So you have 2 in your hands, and what you want to do is you always start with your right hand, because you guys are both right-handed, and you're going to throw it up in the air. When it's on its way down, you're going to throw the other one. So you practice this moment right here, on the way up, when it's on the way down. Just like that. So here, I got you, Dylan. You start with your right hand. You're going to go up like this. And as it's about to come down, you're going to toss this one up like this. Now, always make sure you throw it up, just like Dave Dollar's doing. Look at Dave Dollar, everybody. So I've mastered the first, and I'm going on to the second. Because it's really important. We master that first area. We master that first area. You're really got a rock star on our hands. You master that first area, and you think, well, I've got this thing down. Give me all the tennis balls. Hashtag all the tennis balls. And I can do it, right? I've got it. Hashtag soon. So what you do is you've got them, and you've got to practice this moment. It's important for us if we're going to go down this road of excellence. We're doing great things, great acts, and they're great. Literally, that's why we call them great, acts of greatness. And it's important for us not to throw too much on our plate because we can't handle it. If I gave you 6 tennis balls, could you do this? Remember to keep going up and up. Next thing you do is you go to 3. I think you guys got this. 2 in your right hands. Make sure, Dave, when you're throwing up that it goes up like that every time, all right? You're going to start with 2 in your right hand every single time. All right, so here's what it is. By the end of this, you guys are going to be able to juggle. It's really, and if you guys need juggling lessons, come over to the booth, hashtag marketplace. All right, so you start out with 2 in your hand. What you do is you throw one up. When it's on its way down, you throw another one up, and you just get through that process like that. So Dylan, what you'll do right here, and as it's about to come down, right here, and always on the inside like this. Always on the inside. Always throwing it in like this as you go. Same with you, Dave Dollar. You're going to go right here, and when it's on its way down, you're going to throw it on the inside. And when it's on its way down, you're going to throw it on the inside. All right. Inside every time. Start with your right hand. All right, Dave, it's your turn. No! Couple more times, guys. Couple more times. Dave Dollar. All right, so we just, round of applause for our red-shirted friends. There you go. You can get off stage now, Dave. Go ahead. The truth is, like everything that we do, we start off with this idea of, I have to do it all. I have to do it all. And excellence, in the quote, we are what we repeatedly do, therefore excellence is not an act, but a habit. Habits are formed by doing the small things right every single day, starting with 1, figuring out how to do that, waking up at 5 a.m., writing for an hour and a half a day, spending our time exercising for an hour a day. Hour a day. I master that. What happens in that? I start to build momentum. The law of motion starts happening. I start moving towards my overall goal. Just an hour a day. And I'm going. And then I move, and now I can do 2 things. Man, I have all this extra energy. I have all this extra time. I've really focused. I can do 2 things at one time. Oh, now look at me. I can do 3 things at one time. Now, I'm not an expert juggler, but you've seen those people. They can juggle, 10 things at a time, and chainsaws and bowling pins and babies and all sorts of stuff. And they're just awesome with the things that they do. You guys are the same way. You start slow. Start with those 1 things. Start with the small things. And each step along the journey, you add 1 more thing. I've mastered this. I'm going to add 1 more thing. Look at all these acts of greatness that are happening. You compile those together over a year. Man, look how much we've accomplished. Look how far we've gone. You do it for 2 years. Man, look at this. This is nuts. Look at the momentum. Look at the growth. You do it for 3 years. This is crazy. I'm doing all sorts of crazy stuff here. You do it for 5 years. You can bring 15 people to Launch Out Conference. And you know Randy's not cheap. So we didn't have, thank you for those who got that. As you go through this process, you can do amazing things. My challenge for you as we walk away is strive for excellence. You'll dominate those individual acts. Celebrate those. Strive for excellence in your everyday life. Thank you very much.